Welcome, everyone, to another Jags podcast, episode 22. If you enjoyed our intro music, we want to let you know that's from a local boy, and the band is In Paradise. One of their creators of that band is right here from Jacksonville, big Jaguars fan, and we're excited to, again, celebrate all the people in Jacksonville that are doing big things. The song is called Moments We Live For. So be checking them out. In Paradise, we got a lot of good things coming for them. Just solid guys and fantastic music. So thanks again for that. We appreciate the music. We're looking for other music to play. So if you know of any local bands that want to be featured on this podcast, we'd love to have them. You can reach out to us on Twitter at Another Jags Pod or Instagram and Facebook at Another Jags Podcast. You can also use those mediums for asking us questions, comments, anything about the show that you would like to discuss. We want to hear from you, so continue to give us some feedback. You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, all of the podcasting platforms. You can find us there because we are the number one off-season Jaguars podcast, and we are excited to soon be the number one in-season Jaguars podcast. Guys, 22 episodes in. How you doing tonight, Joey? Everything good?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. It's later in the week. I've been wanting to do this, so I'm excited, man.
Yeah, me too. Jason, how we doing?
I'm doing awesome.
Good. Yeah, it's birthday boy, Jason.
Yeah,
right? Almost tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, how old are we going to be?
The big 2-9.
Ooh,
Yeah.
last one.
I know.
Last one.
Almost officially getting old.
I'm already
Yeah.
getting called Grandpa.
I would love to go back to that birthday.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Robert is not with us tonight. He's gallivanting across the country like he
Always is.
Yeah. Some of us are committed to the Jags, and some of us are committed to our spouses, and that's Robert, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't realize when you got married, it immediately meant you get to travel like at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, I guess so.
I missed that memo.
Yeah,
Pretty cool for him, I guess.
I missed that one too, but we're here and we're talking about the Jags. Guys, we are still in the, technically, I guess, is it still the off season? It's training camp.
There's a game tonight.
There is a game, if you would call it that. Did you watch any of the game tonight? The Hall of Fame game
I think
is what
it's
we're
like
talking
almost
about?
halftime right now. I do know the line's at 33, and I do know that's a trap bet.
The line, the over-under?
Oh, yeah.
What do they have now, 7?
Right now they're at 17.
17?
It's almost
Okay.
halftime.
Okay.
I did see a Bears interception before I left, and and they commented on the fact that the Ravens had a huge issue last year with interceptions and weird ones. And this was a weird one. It was another tip. It was by their rookie receiver, which I don't like the Ravens, so I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be a stud, and he messed up. So
Well,
good sign for us.
Doesn't 33 points, doesn't that seem like they're easily going to get that?
But don't they always in the fourth quarter?
It just depends.
That's what I'm thinking. The fourth quarter, they score a bunch of weird touchdowns because these dudes that aren't going to make the team are trying to make the team.
I may have bet the under on that, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, because it's such a garbage game.
But both those offenses are not good though, so maybe that's why. I mean,
you're talking about fourth string quarterbacks who won't make the team are going to play the majority of the game.
Yeah, it's 17 points at halftime, so it's not looking good for me.
I can't believe we just talked that much about the Hall of Fame game.
Which
and I don't think Lamar Jackson even played yet.
Third on the depth chart right now.
Yeah, but Hall of Fame game is like
the
Jaguars practice scrimmage.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
exactly. It's like a live scrimmage basically.
Yeah.
It just looks fancier. We're going to be talking more about training camp tonight. That's really what's going on with the Jags, so that's what we're going to talk about. And we are going to dive a little bit into what's going on around the whole landscape of the NFL in terms of what we've been hearing in the major news, mainly injuries, because when at this time of year, the only news typically is bad news. And that's why I'm very, very happy to say that this could be a boring podcast because we haven't had any big news for the Jaguars. It's kind of been steady as she goes. No big injuries to speak of. So I'm happy so far.
Eli Anku went down today. They say he was on the ground for 3 minutes.
Right.
He's depth of the D-line, but he's on a goal line play. That's when you see those guys usually get hurt. But
right.
Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, he's depth, but he's pretty deep in the depth too.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that's the worst of it so far,
yeah.
I'm okay with that. Well, obviously, Marquise Lee went down with a little something last week, as did Dante Moncrief. The team is saying it's not severe. Have they practiced since getting injured, like full on?
I don't think so. I mean, they're both listed as day-to-day as of right now.
I mean, right off the bat, we've been talking about the wide receivers a lot on this podcast and talking about there's a lot of depth there, and we see immediately, whether it's severe or not, it does go to show you that having a lot of quality wide receivers is never a bad thing. And I think what it's allowed and what I'm excited for is the opportunity for DJ Chark to get some more reps with the first teamers. And from what we've seen from him and heard about him so far in this training camp, he's I would say better than advertised.
People are excited about. I mean, he looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks. I mean, he's not doing it against like scrub corners. He's catching it over Jalen and like Bouye.
The Jalen touchdown was hilarious.
Yeah, too, against Jalen.
Yeah, I mean, did you hear the aftermath of that, though? They were talking about Jalen afterwards said that anybody scores on him, they're pushing off.
Yeah.
And I guess there's but that was a big point, though, because I guess there was a little bit of, like, last-minute little arm push, but Jalen was trying to muscle the dude up, and he couldn't, which that's big for a guy coming right out of college, because Jalen's a strong bro, man. I mean,
A.J. Boye said talking about DJ Chark, he has a baby face, but he plays like a 30-year-old.
Which is amazing.
That's awesome. Coming from, the two best corners in the NFL, in our opinion, in most people's opinion, for him to already be stepping up like that is huge. I mean, and again, this goes back to a point that we've talked about a lot on this show is the wide receiver is just a huge question mark. There could be a lot of shuffling, but if you're going to give someone like DJ Chark an opportunity, so far he's taken advantage of that. And what we've also seen, sticking with wide receivers, is Keelan Cole is continuing to be Keelan Cole, which is awesome.
Yeah. And I think Moncrief, like you guys have said, Moncrief and Lee being out have opened up reps for the other guys, which I think is almost ideal. I mean, we know what we're getting out of Lee. I mean, Moncrief's a vet at this point, and he's going to be what he's going to be. But the ones we don't know so much about are getting a lot of stuff thrown to them, which is great for the wide receivers. But also, I mean, I know Jason's a big fan of Tanner Lee, right? I mean, and I'm pretty sure a couple of those touchdown passes were from him, not Bortles.
I don't think they were from Tanner Lee. I think they were from.
There was a fade to the back of the end zone.
Tanner Lee's,
Chart that
Tanner
was
Lee's
definitely Tanner Lee.
He's been playing okay,
Yeah.
but to be fair, Cody Kessler's been playing really well too.
Right.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's good news. I mean, I hope those guys open up and we see some stuff in the preseason to where we can, kind of not worry about that.
You don't think Tanner Lee makes the team?
I don't know. One of the two has to, right?
Well, of course, but
I think you're going to see Tanner Lee that in the same role you saw Brandon Allen for a couple years, where it's like an injury, he's on this team. And, both quarterbacks are healthy. He's on the practice squad. He just kind of bounces back and forth, and maybe someone picks him up. But he kind of seems like that same guy to me. But back to DJ Chark, I mean, I might have been flat wrong on DJ Chark because I was not big on him. But, man, I'm getting excited, man. Everyone's like, all these LSU receivers, they always pan out. And it's like, man, he's looking good. The videos that come out, I was fortunate to go to the training camp practice on Saturday of last week, and he looks really good. And what the best part about watching the wide receivers, seeing Keenan McCardell out there coaching him. You almost feel like a proud parent. It's like, man, I remember this guy when I was like cheering for him on TV, and now he's out there like coaching up the young guys. It's awesome to see him out there. He just fits the Jacksonville landscape so well. It's awesome.
I wonder how long he's going to be just a wide receiver.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, I'm almost worried that he's going to do too good and he's gone. But I mean, good for him. He deserves it because he's done an amazing job last year, and this year it seems like he's right back on track.
Yeah, Jason, you said you could be flat wrong about DJ Chark. I'm going to go and say I think I'm going to be flat right about DJ Chark because I've been pretty high on him since they drafted him.
Yeah,
and I'm excited to see. I think if Cole continues to be what he has been so far in camp and progresses from what he was last season, and Chark is this guy that he's showing himself to be, we don't suddenly have a bunch of above-average wide receivers. Now we have a 1 and 2 that are legit. I mean, legit. And that, again, changes our offense, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't that just change the whole outlook of our offense? If you have two not just serviceable wide receivers in a Marquise Lee and Dante Moncrief, who are not bad. Those guys are good receivers. We've talked about them. But now if Cole and Chark can be those guys, I mean, now it changes a lot.
It really does. I mean, you look back, and Jags had a first-round grade on him coming into the draft, and it's amazing that a receiver from LSU with just horrible quarterback play can kind of shine. So, I mean, if you look back on it, kind of hindsight, yeah, if a guy looks good on that team with that offense and that quarterback, then maybe he does have something. So, I mean, I guess they knew what they were doing there. Yeah, so, I mean, the fact that he's shining now, it kind of makes sense when you look back on it.
If I would have said guess which two wide receivers are going to be the first two injured on our wide receiver podcast, we probably would have guessed Moncrief and Lee.
Yeah.
It's no surprise that those are the first two guys injured. Hopefully it doesn't, because Lee got hurt on the Saturday practice I was there. And the second he got hurt, my buddy I was with instantly goes, shocker. Like, he comes up limping because he's like, Marcus Lee got hurt, shocker. It's like, wow. Like, we're so expecting him to get hurt every year. He is so fragile. I mean, that dude is made of glass, man. But he's a good receiver. I'm just glad we have depth, and I hope Chark shows out. Did you guys see what we posted on Twitter about Pro Football Focus's rankings of our wide receiver core?
I saw it, but I didn't click on the clickbait.
Okay, I was gonna ask y'all to guess. What do you think they ranked us if you didn't see it?
I didn't look at it because I can't stand Pro Football Focus, but I would say they ranked them 26th.
I think based on the tweet, if I remember, it kind of had a surprising tone to it. Like you were a little like, what do you know? So I'm gonna say 16.
Yeah, but Jason's big on Cody Kessler, man. They probably thinks our wide receivers are the greatest in the league.
First of all, be careful, okay? Because Cody Kessler is going to just wait, man.
I'll admit, he's having a really good camp. He
just
really
wait
is.
Till the preseason. All you need to say anything else, because when you see him in the preseason, you're like, okay, you were right. But unfortunately, I was surprised in the wrong direction.
Oh, no.
And they ranked them 30th.
Ooh,
wow.
That was close.
They said the team's full of 2nd, 2, and 3 wide receivers.
They are. Right now they are. I can't argue that, really. We don't have when Marquise Lee going into the season is your number one, which everyone assumes that he is.
Yeah.
That's a number 2 receiver, really. He's not in terms of prototypical number 1 receivers that's going to go downfield, catch the jump balls. He's not that guy. We've talked about that. He's not. He's a crossing route over the middle possession receiver. Yes, he has great success on 3rd down, but that's not what people think of a number 1 receiver to be. So right now, I'm okay with that, but when it's all said and done, I don't think they're going to be anywhere close to the 32nd ranked. I mean, what about the Dolphins? Who are their receivers?
Landry. Oh wait, no, he's not on there anymore.
Well, we were 30th, so I didn't see who the other 2 teams were, but I assumed Dolphins were one of them.
They had to be.
But still, though, I mean, I would have to assume that Pro Football Focus is taking into account that Bortles is our quarterback in their mind, and the fact that we're not a passing offense for the most part in their mind. What they don't know is Bortles is going to be a Pro Bowler this year.
Yeah.
So we can knock that off the chart. But who cares? I hope that's what they think, because they're usually wrong, man. I don't like those guys.
I think they do good work as far as next level analytics. I don't think they always tell the whole story, but it gives you an interesting way to look at things. Like they give Marquise Lee a better grade because of his 3rd down productivity. Like most stats aren't going to give you that. I'm not defending them. I'm just saying. They got some things sometimes that are.
Let me ask you this: if
at.
Marquise Lee was on any other team in the AFC South, would he be the number 1 receiver on any other team in the AFC South?
Yeah.
Which one?
I think the Colts. He's number 1. Titans.
He's better than T.Y. Hilton.
Ooh. I mean, T.Y. Hilton's got.
He give him a run for his money.
You just got to. I mean, I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way: would you rather have T.Y. Hilton or Marquise Lee?
Well, that's the thing, because that's a good question, because T.Y. Hilton's hurt a lot. Marquise Lee is too, but T.Y. Hilton's hurt more. And so, would I rather have T.Y. Hilton's skill?
Let's say they're both healthy. You know that they're going to be both healthy, 100% healthy the whole season. Who would you rather have?
I'd probably take T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, but that's a big go.
Okay. Yeah.
Texans, DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, so of course. And
then Titans, I mean, Corey Davis, is that their best?
I think
Actually,
so.
They were talking about today the Titans are going to go out and get somebody in free agency or try to trade, do something, pick up somebody off something to get a wide receiver. Like they were talking about how bad their receiving core are and what they're thinking.
It is.
Now.
I mean, Corey Davis is all potential, but he's really good if he meets his potential. Des Bryant's still out there, but he might be going to my team, my second favorite team, the Browns.
I don't. Do they have, yeah, I guess they got him a league minimum.
Can you imagine
no
Josh
money.
Gordon, Des Bryant, and Antonio Callaway all on the same team?
Well, that's what that's just like insurance in case one of them gets popped.
I want that to happen so bad.
Marijuana. So
Yeah.
I mean, the Titans. It's funny they had Eric Decker. He did nothing, and then he gets signed by the Patriots, and it's like, oh, what a great signing, Eric Decker.
Yeah.
It's like, really? He was terrible. He's awful. He wasn't even that good with the Jets. I mean, he was okay, but not good.
No.
I really think at this point that we're going to end up with wide receiver being our deepest position, and that's going to bode well for us. I'm convinced. I have no issue with that position group at all.
I don't either, and I know what you're saying, and but at the same time, there's depth, but it's like depth at the same level of ability, where you don't have, guys on this upper tier of ability versus, then there's just not a lot that separates the one receiver from the fifth receiver,
Right.
really.
But the good thing
which
is that
I guess you want that if someone goes down, but
It's more of a New England Patriots style rather than like a LA Rams style.
right.
It's 1 through 5, all like you said, interchangeable. Whereas the Rams, it's like 1, 2, really good, and then meh.
Well, I
after
think
that.
that's why they're number 30 on PFF is
Yeah.
because of that. They don't have that prototypical number one guy, and so
I don't think we need that, though. I think we need people that'll stretch the field, which we have now speed-wise, just so there's less people in the box for Fournette. I mean, I think we have the perfect group for our offense. Would they stack up to another team's offense? Probably not. Maybe not. But that doesn't matter because we don't run an offense like a lot of teams do anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's perfect for us, which I'm good.
Well, and I still think, look, I think when it's all said and done, the end of this year, even halfway through the season, you're going to see Keelan Cole's name popping up a lot more than it is right now. He's going to start really making a name for himself. Also, I'm in on Chark. I really am. I was hopeful coming in, and that just the little glimpse that we've seen so far, I'm in. I think he could even push Cole, really, because he's faster and taller and stronger.
I was excited to hear that too, and I still am, but there have been some drops from what I've heard. I mean, again, I haven't been to camp. I don't know if he had any on Saturday, but apparently he has had a couple drops that were suspect.
So who's impressed y'all the most out of training camp?
Aside from Chark?
Yeah.
Because that's who I would say.
Right.
Next would be, from what I've heard, Patman.
Yeah.
Cornerback. Seems like he's making plays a lot. And with Ramsey, who was gone for a little bit, he was getting more opportunities. So that's probably my next one. And I'm encouraged by that, especially because when we talked about our corners, the biggest question was not Ramsey and Boye, obviously, but what happens if they go down. So hearing that we have a corner that's playing really well behind them, that I like a lot.
I would say, not necessarily from how they've played or splash plays that I've seen, but what other players are saying, what they're talking about would be Norwell and Miles Jack. Bortles came out with that press conference, said Norwell is just like a beast. He's just that guy. He's just gritty, just based on what Bortles said, he's just like a tough dude. Loves to get in there, loves to hit. It's just rough. That's his life. He's just built like that guy should be. And then Jack, man, everybody's saying that Miles Jack's going to be the breakout player on the defense. And that's saying a lot with the defense that we have. And that's not just like reporters saying that. That's other players saying that. They're saying that the dude's so athletic that he just got kind of lost in the mix last year as far as the impact that he had, and he's going to get more snaps. So, that's kind of what's exciting me right now.
I got 3.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're not going to give us just one
Per
answer?
usual.
Yeah.
Per usual.
Only 3, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's more, but these are my top 3. Okay. Top 3. I think Cam Robinson has looked really, really good. I mean, the one-on-one drills, the reason why I like him is because he's looking good across the board in all the drills. A lot of these guys are looking good just on the 11-on-11, just on the one-on-one, just on the individual drills. He's looked good across the board.
Is that surprising to you?
It shouldn't have been. I guess I was just concerned that he was what he was last year, but I really am a believer now that it was just he was a rookie and he's really progressed like we had all hoped.
Yeah.
So he's gotten stronger then, I would assume.
Oh, dude, like across the board, like strength, balance, technique, everything has just improved. I haven't seen him get beat once.
Wow.
I mean, seriously. And he's not like he's doing his job. He's like obliterating the defense. Like they are not getting off his block. And this is like starters and all the way through the depth.
And consider who he's going against.
Right.
These aren't scrub defensive linemen.
Yeah. I mean, and supposedly he's gained some weight, gotten stronger. I mean, he might be that grizzly bear left tackle that we really, really need. I think Taven Bryan has looked really, really good. He hasn't gotten a lot of reps against the first team, which you would expect, but he's looked really good against the offensive linemen that probably aren't going to make the team, which you would hope he would, but he's still a rookie in his first training camp ever. So
yeah. He's doing what he should do, which is beat guys that are lesser than him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my third guy was Patman as well. I thought Patman looked really, really good in filling in for Ramsey. When we talked about defensive backs on our podcast, I was kind of concerned about depth. But one of the big things I took away from training camp is that we're a lot deeper at corner than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
We had Cody Davis is playing really, really well. A guy I wouldn't even talk about. He looks really good out there. Jalen Myrick looks really good out there. It's Quentin Meeks is looking good. It's going to be hard to figure out who's going to make the team on the Ronnie Harrison. It's going to be tough to keep and cut guys on this secondary. So I'm super excited about that.
I haven't seen seen anything, but I've heard that Ronnie Harrison is really impressing the veteran teammates on defense, which isn't really surprising to me. I was excited about that pick. I think he's taking Church's spot probably next year. Let him, learn his rookie year.
He looks like a linebacker.
He's a big boy.
Huge. Like when they lined up to do the gassers at the end, you kind of could see them all standing next to each other in a line, and you could kind of see who like stood out as far as how big they were and how small they were. He's huge. Huge guy. And it's like, man, he does not fit in with the defensive backs at all. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
One of the other guys that everybody's been talking about, which I don't know if you noticed this on Saturday, was AJ Cann. Like they're saying that he's come in like way bigger, like significantly stronger. Like it's noticeable just looking at the guy that he's like beastly. He was like standing out. Did you see anything like that on him?
I didn't stand out to me. I don't think he played bad or good. I just didn't stand out in my opinion.
I saw a clip of Ngakoue just basically bowling him over.
Really? Well, it's Ngakoue though.
It
man.
is.
I mean, come on. They said Ngakoue's bowling over everybody.
Well, that was who I was going to bring up next is Ngakoue because he's picked up some moves from Von Miller at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, that
and
was
he's
awesome.
just ridiculous. He's just on another level. I heard Hayes Carline on 1010 XL say this week that based off what he's seen from Ngakoue, that he will be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. I think that's very possible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, especially if you consider the strip sack as, basically the biggest thing that a defensive lineman can do, aside from maybe getting an interception. But I mean, it's a huge play in a game, and so he's the best at it. If he continues to develop that skill, I mean, why wouldn't he be Defensive Player of the Year? We have between him, Jalen, and I think Miles Jack is also going to make a huge leap this year. Before training camp started, I think we all agreed that was going to happen. We have some guys I could finish in the top 3 to 4 guys I could finish in the top 10 of Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible to you can name the best player on our defense who we think's going to be, but there's like 6-7 guys that could like vie for it if they just do a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
And we're not even talking about AJ Boye.
Yeah.
Or Calais Campbell.
Right.
I mean,
Who was like top 3 Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Right, he was.
And then somebody like Malik's kind of fallen off the radar, which, I mean, I guess he kind of came in maybe a little bit out of shape, possibly, is what everybody's saying.
I didn't hear that. But
they're saying like
I'm not refuting it.
But out of all that, he's the one, and he's going to end up being good. I mean, he always is. He's very consistent. And Ngakoue, man, you look at his videos. Everybody was watching him in the offseason. His training videos. You're like, man, that guy is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who trains like that? That's like crazy town. But he comes into camp and he has the same attitude. And there's like 5 or 6 guys who are like that too, that just drive the rest of the team. You've got to play your best every single play, every single day, or you're done.
Yeah.
Which that's what makes everybody better. That's amazing. That's what excites me.
Yeah. What excites me is hearing coaches and reporters saying these veterans that have this is their umpteenth training camp are out there competing on every play. Like they do not want to get beat. They're almost competing against each other on the same side of the ball. They don't want to be the guy on the defense that let a play go. So it's almost like forget about the offense. We're competing against each other on defense to see who can make the best play. I mean, that's ridiculous for, the first week of training camp for veterans to be like that, have that kind of attitude. Tell me they're not hungry. Tell me they're not trying to get to the Super Bowl. I love it.
And you also got a lot of guys playing for checks too, which doesn't hurt.
That's true.
That's a good thing.
Not the guys that are going to be starting.
No. Well, I mean, Ngakoue is. Fowler is.
Fowler's not playing. He's not there.
Well,
but yeah, Ngakoue, you're
be.
right. Ramsey's he knows he's getting paid.
Yeah.
I mean, dude rolled up in a Gucci bag looking all kinds of cool. I mean, who makes an entrance like that?
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. You got to love the swagger.
Yeah. Can we just address that really quick and then we'll move on? But just the fact that, yes, Ramsey missed some time, and no, absolutely 0 people should have a problem with that.
Absolutely not.
Well,
or unless Jason disagrees.
John Reed from the Florida Times-Union wrote that on Tuesday when Jalen Ramsey got back, the intensity and trash talking amongst the defensive backs like tangibly increased. Like just his presence on the
Nice.
field alone, like up to the ante, which is like that's a star player. That's what a star player does.
Yep. Doesn't have to say anything, although I'm sure he was.
I'm sure he was.
Especially after I can't imagine, in all honesty, Ramsey in the 2 touchdowns he gave up to Chark, that was 1-on-1s. That wasn't 11-on-11 or even 7-on-7, I don't think.
Yeah.
That where he was going 100%. I think he's got a rookie. They're going, okay, 1-on-1s, I'm not trying to get hurt. Maybe going 85% because Jalen can go 85% against most receivers and still win. But I wonder after those two plays, you know,
he's going 100% next
right?
time.
You know what I mean? I can't.
100%.
I want to see the next one-on-one with him and Chark and see what
Absolutely.
happens.
And what you got to remember about one-on-ones is that the advantage is so tilted in favor of the offense
big time.
in one-on-ones that it's really not even fair.
Right.
If that plays on 11 on 11, that receiver is running into like the teeth of linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just running to open field to get open. It's completely different.
Absolutely.
It's completely different. So, yeah, I know defensive backs have pride. They want to win every rep, but you cannot weigh one-on-ones the same as a normal rep.
Why you got to bring facts into it, man? Chark beat Ramsey. That means he's going to be a Pro Bowl wide receiver his first year.
We'll see.
He still did beat him, which I like, but you're absolutely right. Not only in one-on-ones, but really in 11 on 11, when the quarterback knows he's not going to get hit and can't get hit, it just changes things.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
So the fact that Bortles can sit back there and know that he's not going to get destroyed, yeah, you can place the ball a little bit better than in live action. Having said that, I can't wait to see Chark in the preseason and see what he can do. You know, probably have Kessler throwing the ball to him more than Blake.
Well, today they counted the the passer reps for 11 on 11. This is for Thursday's training camp, and Bortles was 10 of 21.
Not a good day.
Cody Kessler, 11 of 20, and Tanner Lee, 10 of 15.
Yeah, Tanner Lee won the day.
Tanner Lee.
It was Bortles and Kessler's first bad day, and you never know.
It's going to happen, man.
And you're playing the best defense in the league.
You are.
Yeah, again, you got to take that into account.
And it's like, come on. It reminds me of spring training with baseball when the pitchers come in and they're pitching these games. They're not trying to win the game. They're trying to figure out how to throw their slider better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they're working on a pitch in a game, and they might get, tagged for a 3-run homer. They don't. It's like, oh well, they're working on that. So I consider these kind of numbers like, well, maybe Bortles was just trying throws that he wouldn't have normally, just because why not?
Right.
Every other day he's been having a great camp. Great camp.
Up to this point, there's been zero talk of him not throwing a good ball, zero talk of him not knowing the offense, him looking not confident. I mean, everything's been fantastic. He himself even said at this point his goal isn't to work on his mechanics like he said in the past. It's to work on his bad plays being less bad.
Right.
So like he feels like they've gotten to where like his bottom, which everybody's is an issue with, is that he looks horrible when he's horrible. Like that's going to be way better. So I mean that's what you want to hear coming out of your quarterback at this point. And I think one of the other really cool things about training camp is that Marone has been the offensive line coach for the week. The offensive line coach is out. I'm not sure why, but that's pretty awesome too because he's been working those guys to the bone.
Yep.
Can you imagine being like an offensive lineman trying to make the team, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
the head coach is going to be your offensive line coach
it's like
for the week.
He's just sitting there sweating the entire time.
Yeah.
Pretty cool though. I'm sure Marone ate that up too.
Yeah, I'm sure. He said he loved it. He also, they asked him about Bortles, and he kind of he complimented him, but it wasn't like praising him. He basically just said, yeah, he's getting better, but he should be. It's his 5th year. So I love that response because it says, yeah, he's good, but we're not going to go throw him a parade or anything yet. And he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. So even I feel like the narrative on Bortles has changed with the coaches as well, where it used to be like, and maybe this was more Bradley than Marone, but just, yeah, they were almost trying to just pump him up with everything they were saying through the media or wherever. Now it's changed like, yeah, he's good. Well, so we're not going to pat him on the back every time he makes a completion. It's more, yeah, he's doing what he's supposed to do. Let's see him get better.
That's a great point because I think even Marone and the staff did that last year, and I think Bortles kind of needed that because he's mentally tough, man. But only somebody can only put up with so much before it breaks their confidence. And I think they were trying to build that back up a little bit, and now they know he's there, and it's time to man up and be who you're going to be.
Right.
Update: Lamar Jackson entered the game, went 3 and out.
Okay.
There you go.
First round pick.
There's your update. So can we just take a second to talk about the tight ends that have just been going off in the preseason? I mean, one thing I noticed in training camp is that they're not throwing the ball down the field as much as I would like. But you know how I am. I like to see those type of things. But I'm Saturday night, Bortles threw 3 passes over 15 yards. 3 the entire night. Everything was a check down to a tight end or running back pretty much the entire night. But O'Shaughnessy's looking good. Safarian Jenkins is a huge man. I know you know that firsthand, James.
I do.
But
I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad you did.
But when you see him just lined up on the field, he looks like he's barely the offensive lineman. He really is. You're just like, oh, man. No wonder he's such a safety valve.
Yeah.
The dude takes up so much space in the middle of the field. How do you miss him?
Now, are you at all concerned, Jason, because you said a while ago, I guess when we were talking about tight ends over the summer, on one of our episodes. You said O'Shaughnessy is your breakout offensive player for the. Are you at all concerned because Safarian Jenkins is having such a good camp that may not happen because O'Shaughnessy might not get the looks?
I think O'Shaughnessy will become the number 2 tight end by week 3, and I think that he will get so many reps at tight end too that he will be the breakout player of the year.
Okay,
and I
so
think
you're sticking with it.
Yeah, and so Safarian Jenkins will have a good year, I think, but you're going to see O'Shaughnessy a lot this year.
Does Koyak get cut?
Ooh.
I have a feeling he might get cut. They just brought in the tight end from the Gates.
DeAndre Goolsby.
Yeah,
I think him and Koyak are fighting for that 4th spot.
They're not keeping 5 tight ends.
No, I think they keep 4, and I think Goolsby and Koyak fight for that 4th spot.
Yeah,
because Niles Paul seems like a lock.
It's funny because I haven't heard a thing about Niles Paul. Was he? Was
he
he
got hurt. Yeah,
okay.
Again,
but he's back now. I think he came back today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they've been giving some of the guys days off. Like,
right.
Telvin got a day off, and I think Malik Jackson got a day off. So
no, I think Safarian Jenkins is the real deal. I think he's gonna. He might be the steal of free agency.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you can call it a steal because he is a guy. He's more than just an average Joe. But in terms of getting more than you probably thought, that could be him. He's legit.
Definitely hope so.
That's some serious analysis right there, Joey.
I mean, you
only get that here at Another Jags podcast.
Again, I'm still up in the air about the tight end position. I mean, yeah, he's a big dude. He's athletic, but he's been a big dude and athletic for a couple years in the league. And
you're up in the air with him or just the tight end position for the Jags
in
overall?
general.
Okay.
I still wish they would have done something in the offseason a little bit better than that. And
wow.
I hope it works
like
out.
Like who?
There wasn't much available at the tight end spot. I mean, I'm with you. I would like to see a better blocker given our scheme. But as far as the best tight end available, he probably was it. I mean,
I still think he's an upgrade from what we had last year. He's better than Mercedes.
I agree.
Mercedes had a good year, though.
Upgrade.
He did, but he wasn't going to. He had 3 touchdowns in one game.
I know. That's my point.
He had 5 total, including the playoffs.
Still,
so you take that one game away, and he had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but we didn't throw it to him very much, which maybe he wasn't open, but it's not like he was bad.
I'm not saying it was bad, but I believe we've improved.
Yeah, that's true.
I believe we've
guess
improved.
I was just trying to argue about something.
You love all these lifers.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do, man. Loyalty means something, man.
Yeah.
It's got to.
It's true. I agree, but at the same time, it is a business, and look, sometimes you got to upgrade.
Yeah.
I think they did. I'm liking what I'm hearing. I'm really, all the news that is coming out of camp is exactly what you want to hear as a fan. Everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, and the guys that they drafted and brought in are exceeding expectations. If there was a blanket statement to make across the board for Jags training camp, it would be that. Guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and most guys are exceeding expectations.
Yeah, and the other good thing with that is the guys that we drafted that have been brought in that are doing what they're supposed to. In years before, those guys would be starting. And now they can't break the starting lineup because the players before them are so much better.
Right.
Which that's the way it should be, and that's awesome to actually see that. Like Taven Bryan, I mean, that guy's doing really well, but he ain't going to crack the starting lineup right away.
No.
And he shouldn't, and he doesn't have to. So he has the time to develop and become the player he's going to become, which that's exciting.
Other teams are paying attention to our roster and who we are going to cut because we have so many good players.
That's a great point.
And I mean, it used to be the other way around. We were getting the players off the scrap heap.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're not. Now the players that we're cutting are getting picked up by other teams. That speaks volumes to where we are now and where we've come from.
What's fun to watch is because it's been so long since we've had such a talented roster that you forget how bad these undrafted people are, and like these guys are going to get cut. And when they're out there on the field, they're just so much worse than our roster actual players. Like Brandon Smith and even that Tony Adams guy, they're just getting beat left and right. And it's like, it's visibly bad football.
Yeah.
And back, for the last 10 years, there wasn't that big of a drop off between our starters and those guys. Like, oh, this guy could maybe make a starting lineup. And, But now there's guys that are just like, ooh, you're literally just a camp body. Like you are, Tony Adams, they moved him to center. I know I haven't been on him in a while, but golly, he looks bad. And
what about, is it Lazard, Alan Lazard?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? I mean, is he making the team?
He's kind of been like lost in the mix, right? I mean, I thought he might be the big flyer, but dude, you haven't heard anything about that.
Talking about undrafted free agent, we brought him in. I heard his name a couple times.
Yeah, he's getting
Mm.
reps, which he's making some. He had a touchdown, I think, either yesterday or today, but it's just too crowded.
Yeah,
I don't
it is.
see unless they keep him for strictly special teams. Like, and that's where you'll see a guy like Koyak would get cut, who was on the team last year, and special teams But I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's only so many of those guys to go around. Niles Paul, Myrick, Patman. There's only so many of those special
Right.
teams guys to go around. So right now, I'm inclined to say that he's not going to make the team.
I mean, I've heard more about Rashad Green and even Shane Wynn than him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that dude's cut, man.
Yeah,
And he will be picked up by another team. I mean, that'd be one of the guys I think that'll be snatched up.
that's possible. It's very
Probably
possible.
go to the Titans.
Be their number one.
Shane Wynn looks really good, but he's just so small.
How tall is he? 5'6"?
Yes.
Is he really?
5'6".
That's
so
impossible.
small. And another guy that's smaller than I thought was DJ Hayden. That dude's small.
Really?
I mean, people are big on him all of a sudden, but when I watched of him, I mean,
But you can kind of get away with that at DB and not so much.
at nickel especially.
At nickel, you
but,
can.
Yeah.
but he is smaller than I thought. And
Well, that's a good. I mean, I'm glad you brought him up. Is there any way Patman
yeah.
leapfrogs him?
Oh yeah,
I think that's possible.
absolutely. I can see Myrick leapfrogging him. I mean, Myrick is fast. I mean, when they had the matchups between Myrick and DJ Chark, that's like elite speed covering or going against each other right there. I mean, that's as fast as football gets.
The only problem
between
is
those two
one of them
guys.
is a foot taller than the other one.
That's true.
Well, and the
yeah.
other thing is that we're not mentioning Didi at all, and Didi's definitely made a leap as well, from what it sounds
He's
like.
had a good camp. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
You can't. I mean,
he's being Didi.
Yeah, he's
Right.
on the team.
Yeah.
He's just solid.
Yeah, it's just a solid possession guy that's going to get open and catch the ball.
I don't think Rashad Green has dropped a pass all training camp, from what I've heard. I mean, Everett's like, yeah, he didn't drop any.
People
man.
love Rashad
How
Green.
that guy's
I don't
still
know.
on the team,
I
though.
don't get
He's-
it.
I'm more fascinated with him
Yeah.
than I am. I like him.
I wouldn't
You know what I mean?
Because he'd be like a 12-year player that like never plays.
Yeah.
He's gonna, like
Then
bet on him at this point.
You talked about guys playing for paychecks. That's him too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's running out of time on that rookie deal. It's just fascinating to me because I forgot he was on the team,
Yeah.
and now suddenly he might make it not just because of special teams, but as a receiver. I don't know. I mean,
I kind of hope he does, and I really don't know the guy. I mean, he played for Florida State, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like I have any like love for the guy in the history, but I mean, like, man, you're still there, dude. I'm rooting for you.
when he was drafted his rookie year and during training camp and preseason, that was when Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns were healthy and they were studs. And it was said that guys within the building, the coaches, said Rashad Green was the best of those three guys.
Really?
Yeah. And then, he got hurt and things happened or whatever, and it wasn't working out. If he can stay healthy, and that's a big question mark with him because he hasn't since he's been in the league. But if he can, how much, I don't know, this is going to sound crazy, but how much worse is he than Marquise Lee?
I don't know because until you see him in live bullets, it's hard to know.
It is.
Plus, you got to figure Lee's got the pressure catches as well. I mean, the third down catches. I mean that speaks volumes as far as what a player can do in real situations.
he's clutch.
You'd have
He's
to give
clutch.
him the way bigger nod at that point just because of that.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what Green does in the preseason, and because he's playing to make the team for sure. I mean, it's a big preseason and for him. I don't know. I'm fascinated.
Fascination.
Like he's kind of one of those players I want to watch and see, and if he doesn't make the team, I'm not going to be heartbroken or anything
No.
like that. I'm just curious. I'm very curious with him because it really it comes down to him and Mickens. Really, I mean,
yeah.
doesn't it? Aren't they two? You would say they're sharing the sixth spot?
I love a good backstory. So Mickens is my boy, but he's gone. Didi's going to do punt returns, and they got too many other wide receivers. I hate to say it, but he just flailed at the end of the year too much, I think, for him to be on the team anymore.
He's so shifty, man. When you see him live, close up, you realize how shifty they are.
Right.
Like, man, if I wanted to, like, two-hand tag this guy, I couldn't. Like, he's like that. Like, I understand they're professionals, but, like, he did a lot of, like, punt returns, and it's like he'd catch the ball and do, like, a jump cut, and it's like, I couldn't pull that guy's flag if you paid me $1,000.
Yeah, but you don't have to pull it if he drops the ball.
Yeah,
which
but
is the problem at the end of the year. I mean, that's my concern is that he doesn't have the stock of like a first-round draft pick, and he had issues at the end of the year. I mean, trust me, I thought the guy was great. From where he
I
came
don't
from,
know,
but-
man. I think he might be their kicker, their punt returner.
You think so?
Yeah, because what I'd forgotten when I went back and watched like the Seahawks game the other day is he had like a punt return to like the 1 yard line. Like didn't get a touchdown for it, so you don't see it on his stats, but it's like the dude got the ball to the 1 yard line. And it basically he doesn't get any stats for that. But that's a huge, huge play in that game.
Dude, no, the guy's amazing back there, but consistency you have to have. I mean,
He had a couple muffs, but, I mean, they all do. I mean, Dede had a drop. Rashad Green had a bunch of drops before he got hurt. I mean, those guys they muff punts. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to field a punt. I mean, you ideally don't want someone to be muffing punts, but if we're being realistic, your main punt returner is going to have one or two that they muff. So as long as you can get more out of that, or you get way more out of it than he muffs, but I just feel like we don't give him enough credit for the field position he gave us because they didn't result in touchdowns. And that's what fans look at when they look at the stats. Like, oh, he had 2 touchdowns. That's good, but it's not great. But it's like, well, look at what he actually did. Go beyond the stats, and he can change the game for you.
I just think that the fact that he's not going to add anything to the wide receiving core at this point limits him big time. There's just too many other guys they want to keep on the roster to see what they can do possibly, that they're not going to keep him just because of the punt returning. I don't know.
I think they may, actually.
I hope they
do. They can
but
only put 3 receivers on the field. I guess they could put 4, but
they don't very often.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they're looking at that 6th spot as the punt returner.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Dede does win that, which I've actually heard of the 3, he's probably the worst at it because he just isn't. He just, I don't
doesn't
know.
have the instincts.
I don't think he puts his foot in the ground and runs downfield. I think he's more kind of patient or whatever. And you can't be like that with punt returning. But yeah, so I think that the 6th receiver could be who's going to win the punt returning job. And then it comes down to, Green and Merrick.
Well, I hope I'm wrong on that.
Mickens.
Again,
thank you.
Yeah.
it would be great if he makes the team coming from his situation. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, it's going to be to me, that's the most interesting position group to watch because of all those question marks. Let me change gears completely. Something we haven't brought up at all, and I'm kind of surprised because to me, it's actually maybe the biggest story of all of training camp, honestly, is the fact that we have a 7th round pick, rookie, Leon Jacobs, starting at Sam linebacker over Blair Brown, who was a 6th round pick last year. So we have 2 very late round picks battling out for a starting job at linebacker, replacing one of our most beloved Jaguars of all time, Paul Postlesny. What do you guys think? Leon Jacobs, is he going to win the job? Again, as a starting linebacker for arguably the best defense in the NFL.
Well, I mean, we talked about this in depth, like draft time. And we're like, that's a weak spot. Are we really relying on Brown? I mean, again, Jason, this is probably your forte here, but are the Jags that brilliant that they saw this coming and knew they were going to be able to get a guy like that? Because, I mean, it's crazy if he is going to start. I agree.
He looks really good.
I heard physically he looks amazing.
Yeah,
he's just a specimen.
Yeah, he is huge. I mean, he looks like a young Postlesny. He really, really does. I mean, he is huge. He runs downhill. We posted his college highlights on our Twitter, and I mean that dude is instinctual, can wrap up, and takes good angles, and that's what you want out of that Sam linebacker. I mean that's exactly what you want. I mean he even had some interceptions at Wisconsin. Jumping the routes, catching deflected balls. I mean he literally is prototype what you want in that Sam backer. The only thing that gives me a reservation is that he went in the 7th round.
Right.
Like if he was drafted in the 3rd round, I'd be hyped on him. I'd be like, this guy, is it? But the fact that he was evaluated as a 7th round talent makes you kind of take a step back and be like, what is he missing?
Well, I mean, Wisconsin has kind of lost its cachet as far as like a powerhouse football school, but I mean, defensive wise, they're usually pretty solid. So I mean, I can kind of see that. I mean, it does say 6'2", 225. I mean, he does look shredded. I mean, dude is a specimen, when you check it out. I was questioning, I mean, Blair Brown, I mean, who is that guy? Like, what has he done? I could definitely see him getting beat out. I mean, why couldn't he?
Yeah, why not? I
It's
mean,
not like he's done anything to, like, solidify his position there, right?
He was drafted in the 6th round.
Yeah,
so
it's
not
kind of like he was just the last guy available that was still on
Mhm.
this team at that point. So that'd be cool.
I mean, I totally get what you're saying, Jason, in terms of being drafted so late. Not just by the Jags, but every team in the NFL didn't draft him before then. So that is kind of puzzling, but at the same time, our, in theory, number 1 receiver, Keelan Cole, wasn't drafted at all. You know what I mean? So Telvin Smith, not drafted till the 5th round.
Hey, nor was Norwell.
There you go. And who's now the best guard in the NFL. I'm okay with it. Look, if he wins the job, then I think it's tip of the cap to Dave Caldwell and Tom Coughlin for drafting the guy. So we'll see what happens. But I was really shocked that he was getting 1 reps over Brown because last year, I believe, Marone during training camp didn't let any of the rookies immediately start with the ones. He said if you're a rookie, you have to earn that. Even Cam Robinson, and maybe I'm trying to think if he did that with Fournette. He may have, but most of the rookies, they just on principle alone didn't go with the ones. Yet Jacobs is.
He looks the part for sure. I want him to win the job over Blair Brown. I do. I feel like he's got what it takes, and I'm actually really excited about seeing him play. He just fits the defense really well.
He seems slimmer. I haven't seen them next to each other, but he seems slimmer than Blair Brown. Would you say he is, or is he?
Jacobs is like jacked. He may be the most jacked guy on our team. Like,
wow.
Like
there's no joke. Here's a picture of him.
Yeah.
He's repping like 285 like it's nothing.
Yeah, like as far as like muscle definition, he might be like the most jacked guy on our team.
Wow.
So he may be like skinnier, maybe is what you're talking about. But as far as like the dude that you don't want to meet in the hole, I don't think there's a guy on the team I would avoid more than Leon Jacobs.
Is he on the Greg Jones level?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely.
That's kind of what I was trying to think of. That's exactly what he's on the level he's on.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean he looks just like just a big ball of muscle. And he can run, which is something that you don't see very often out of those guys.
Wow, I just looked him up. Yes, he's a monster.
He was standing next to some like sideline reporter.
I think he's an Avenger, actually. Now that I look at him.
Yeah, he really. I mean, you got to think he's beating out guys, not just Blair Brown. He's beating out Lorente McCray. He's beating out guys that we thought. I thought McCray was going to win that job. It's looking like
good. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. Bring him on.
Yeah.
I was going to add one more thing. I mean, the 40-yard dash was 4.55?
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. That's some fast linebackers across the board. My
Dude,
goodness.
that does fit our mold, though, when you think about it. I mean, that's right in line with everybody else.
Speed.
Pretty crazy.
I mean, he can hit you, too. I mean, I implore all of our listeners to go back on our Twitter and watch the Leon Jacobs highlight video from Wisconsin. I mean, he will wreck you. I mean, he comes downhill. And he doesn't miss tackles.
How about that? Why don't we retweet it?
I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll repost it this
so
week and take a look at it, and maybe we'll post it on the Instagram too. So
yeah, that'd be good.
We'll
do
people.
that. We'll do that for our listeners because we look out for you.
Yeah, we try to.
We do. We do our best.
I'm gonna put this combine video on there as well because it just shows him running downfield like 40 yards and catching a pass over his head. It looks like a wide receiver. I'm kind of pumped about this guy at the moment.
I can tell, Joey.
Sorry, I'll be back at the podcast in a minute. I have a couple more videos to watch.
I think this is a good time for a quick break. We're going to come back and ask Jason. He's going to the scrimmage tomorrow night. We're going to ask him what he's going to be looking for in that specifically. And also, we're going to talk about what's going on in the rest of the NFL. And we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to the Jags Podcast. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 22 of Another Jags Podcast, your #1 Jaguars off-season podcast. Thanks again to In Paradise for the song Moments We Live For providing us the music for this episode. Check them out, In Paradise, local boys. They're good. They rip. We're so excited tonight to be talking about training camp, not position groups or anything like that, although that was fun. But the season is approaching. Every single episode, we just get that much closer, and we're pumped. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at Another Jags Pod, Facebook and Instagram at Another Jags Podcast. You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, all that stuff. And if you're confused, just go to our website, anotherjagspodcast.com, and it has the links there. The website, we're still working on it, so be patient with us. But if anything, you can just go to the website, and it'll have a link to our episodes right there for you. Jason, before we get to the scrimmage tomorrow night that you're going to and what you're going to be looking at specifically, I noticed this past week you made a certain purchase, a Jaguars item. You want to tell us about a certain jersey that you bought and what player it was and the color that it was, and what did you decide to go with when you're with your first new uniform? The new uniforms that we have, jersey, color, player.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was a gift, but I picked it in a roundabout way.
Okay.
But
not even better.
Yeah, exactly. But I got the Jalen Ramsey with the white.
With the white.
Yeah.
Okay.
After all the bashing I did, I took a step back and I said, you know what? I think white's the best looking one to me. So I ended up going with white.
It's clean.
Yeah.
It is. It's
and
classic.
in September, it'll be cooler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's good.
And it's like the elite one, so it fits completely different. Because I have a Bortles jersey that's not the elite. It's stitched, but it's not like the Nike Elite jersey. And a medium fits me like it should. And then so I got a medium and then Nike Elite, and it was like a skinny medium on me. And I was like, oh dang. So word of advice: if you're going with the nicer jersey, get your actual t-shirt size. Don't do what the cheaper Nike jerseys fit as.
That's
they fit completely different.
I've never gotten in my life a jersey, and I probably never will, because how jerseys fit on me, I look like a 5-year-old in like their art smock at school, you know?
Yeah.
It just does not fit me right at all. So maybe
these fit good. These fit good. They fit like t-shirts. They're not like, and I know what you're talking about, because I have like a Maurice Jones-Drew, a Mark Brunell jersey.
Matt Jones,
yeah, that just like it like goes to your wrists,
right.
And you're like, oh, this is kind of weird, and like down to your knees, but these fit really well.
That's funny. I don't have that problem. Mine kind of feel like I've got pads on when I don't. So I don't know. I usually get like the normal size.
Yeah,
and I'm good.
Yeah. They're
Joey's like, this is fitted.
This is great.
I didn't know this was elastic.
I would recommend with the white jerseys though, like no ribs or nachos, chili cheese fries, nothing like that. Because
I know that's why I'm not wearing it until the game time.
I saw that you got it, and I felt in that moment, I was like, oh, that's sweet. And I was like, you know what? I feel bad for AJ Boye, because how many, who's gonna buy? He's such a good cornerback.
Yeah, and he's got a really cool last name.
Yeah,
like,
and he's just awesome. Like he's just that quiet guy that goes about his business. I mean, he's cocky on the field when he makes plays, which I love. But yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna add a Boye jersey to my China order.
Okay,
so that should be here.
Good. That makes me feel better. People need to buy some Boye jerseys. Listen, Ramsey's my favorite Jaguar of all time, so I'm not trying to be hypocritical here. But I was like, man, I feel bad for Boye.
So you're buying it from China, so the money doesn't go to him at all.
Yeah, I mean, by the playoffs, I should have a stitched Boye jersey with the stitching kind of coming out in places possible.
Playoffs 2020.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
There's no real shipping time.
When I went to training camp,
It's all prison rules over there.
I saw probably 20 Ramsey jerseys, and I saw one Boye jersey.
That's probably the ratio I would go with. 20 to 1.
It stood out too. I was like, oh, this guy's got a Boye jersey on. Like, respect.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
That's an interesting point, though. I mean, to be that guy, you really got to be a good dude.
Yeah.
I mean, to not get any of the spotlight for the most part and be that good. I mean,
he's getting paid an exorbitant amount of money.
That's true.
Yeah, he's getting compensated.
But
he is.
But for a lot of guys, that's not enough.
It isn't. But for him, it is, and I love that about it.
Yeah,
I really do. They're a great yin and yang with each other. It works perfectly. So all right, so we brought that up. Now, Jason, you are going to the live scrimmage tomorrow night. That's open to the entire public in the stadium. It's kind of the last big hurrah before the preseason games. What are you going to be looking for when you're there? What player or position groups or just kind of whatever? What is going to be your main focus for the night?
My main focus is going to be at depth at quarterback and depth at defensive back. I don't know why those two positions just fascinate me. I realize there's like probably more intrigue at wide receiver, but I feel like we're okay there. I mean, I feel like we're going to cut guys at wide receiver that are pretty good. So I'm really looking at the depth at defensive back and then the depth at quarterback, because I want to see what Cody Kessler is really all about. Because I think I have him evaluated as a pretty decent quarterback, and I want to see if I'm right. I've been flat wrong many times.
Given the opportunity, all right. Yeah. Think about this. Given the opportunity, would you ask him to take a selfie with you?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
That's not even a question. Yeah. I'd probably.
Is it in the works? Are you forming your strategy now?
I might try to work my way down.
Get out of the way, little kid.
Yeah, exactly. I saw he was taking pictures with people at the training camp, but I was gone by then. I was leaving. But yeah, for sure. There's gonna be. I'm just excited that the preseason games, like the third quarter and the fourth quarter, I'm gonna actually watch that this year.
Yeah.
In the past, I had never heard of the people on our own team, which is unbelievable. Players on the field I had never heard of, and now we have so much talent. These guys that are playing in the third and fourth quarter will probably be on other rosters when they get cut, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I have to agree. I'd really like to get Kessler on the podcast. I mean, that'd be awesome, and then we could get him to like talk about what it's like to back up Blake Bortles.
Was that a little bit of a swipe there, Joey?
Yeah.
You just stared at Jason right after you said, like, as if he was Cody Kessler.
I mean, at this point, he's as close as I'm ever going to get to Cody Kessler. I mean, I don't know.
He might come on our podcast. You never know.
Yeah, I feel like we could get Kessler on here.
I think so too.
I'm sorry, Cody.
Yeah, they're already backpedaling on that one. I'm not going to be able to go, but I would be looking at wide receiver just because I want to see Chark run. Yeah. I haven't got to see him in person yet, and also Keelan Cole. I just want to see those guys, and see what they're going to be. See if they can be those number ones and not be 30th on PFF once the season starts. But I'd be interested in that. Definitely corner. I would like to see Leon Jacobs. I'm going to watch him based off what we just talked about with his size and if he's going to continue to run with the ones. But there's kind of like you just said, Jason, there's so much to look at. There's so many players at every position. It's really, man, we have a lot of talent on this team. We can't say it enough. And the preseason, again, the preseason for most fans, I think, is you're excited when it gets there, and then as soon as it's there, you're over it because you realize this isn't a real game, and you're just trying to get to September for that first regular season game. But not so much the case this year. Even, dare I say, the fourth preseason game, which is usually garbage, that's going to be make or break for some guys where we see who makes the team and who doesn't. Specifically, the 6 wide receiver. Some of those corners that we talked about.
The 5th tight end.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Who's going to be that 5th tight end? It's competition everywhere, and when you have competition everywhere, it makes your team better because guys aren't slacking, and it just iron sharpens iron. So that's going to be interesting.
I think if I went, I'd be focusing on the running backs just because I haven't heard a whole lot about them. I mean, it doesn't seem like that's been a good or a bad thing coming out of camp for the most part. Maybe because that's just solidified. There's not a lot of battles there. But Fournette did confirm that he did drop weight because that was his sophomore year at LSU, and that's when he was in the Heisman race, and he felt the best. So he did say that's why he did it, which was kind of cool to hear. I just haven't heard much about Yeldon, and I'd like to see how Corey Grant's doing. I mean, just see if they're mixing him in much at all because I haven't really heard much about that.
And it sounds like Tim Cook is going to be the 4th running back. So it seems like that's like a given for
Jason
coming out of
called that
camp.
one.
So yeah, he did.
He'll probably
you heard it here first at the number 1 off-season Jags podcast.
You heard a lot of things here first.
You do. You really do.
Let's be fair.
And then you hear it again other places.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna keep doing that as long as we're on here.
# nice dig.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not, we wouldn't say if it wasn't true.
That's right. I'm not making stuff up. I'm not telling stories out of school.
You can go back and listen to our podcast. That's the beauty of it. They get archived, so you can go back and listen to them.
Time stamped.
I mean, someone was really big on Cody Kessler the moment we signed him.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I even talked on our first podcast before we signed Austin Seferian-Jenkins. I said we should go after Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
I think you might be right.
So you can go back and listen to that because I think I called that too.
22 episodes ago.
If we want to go back to making calls, I called we were not re-signing Allen Robinson before anybody.
That is true. I think that was our first episode.
That was our first one. Second episode, or first or second.
First or second.
Yeah, that was good.
That's going back.
We'll use that. I'll tell a quick little story about our friend Joey here. I was up at a place I like to frequent very often, and I ran into a fan of the podcast, and I asked him, hey, what do you think about it? And you know what he told me?
I have no idea what
he said, my favorite guy is Joey. I wish he'd talk more. I was like, I'm gonna tell him that.
Wow.
I don't believe that for a second.
I promise you, I was laughing not laughing. I just
you're laughing. I'm laughing.
I was just like, okay.
Was this guy highly intoxicated?
Did he have a Titans hat on?
He was not highly intoxicated. He was.
Was it Blake Bortles?
Yeah.
It wasn't. But I was.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
You got some fans out there, Joey.
That's exciting. I've got at least one. I like it.
That's a good story. I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that Joey is his favorite.
James is at a loss for words, which that doesn't happen very often.
No, it
so
doesn't.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was.
I'm gonna have to go up there with a shirt on that says "I'm Joey" and just wait for the guy to show up.
Joey's gonna go into work tomorrow with a little extra hitch in his giddy up. What happened with you?
I'm gonna be skipping.
I have a fan.
I'm gonna be skipping out of here.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's talk really quickly. There has been some injuries around the NFL, things that we're hoping we'd never have to discuss with the Jags, not only in obviously the preseason, but in the regular season especially. Today, Jonathan Cyprien, a name that we're pretty familiar with as Jaguar fans, went down with a torn ACL, out for the year. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't my favorite Jag, but you never want to see a guy get injured for an entire year. But at the same time, that's a division rival, and he's a starter, so that's something.
They talked about them bringing in Eric Reed and Kenny Vaccaro to maybe replace him. So that's something. I mean, they haven't been signed, but they're historically pretty decent safeties.
I was going to say that. Is that an upgrade? And I'm not trying to dig.
I'm being that's kind of why I brought it up. They especially Kenny Vaccaro. I was really surprised he wasn't signed. But I don't know what the deal with Eric Reed is.
I mean, the deal with Eric Reed, that's the whole political thing, which I know we haven't jumped into much. But, his whole thing was kneeling for the national anthem, and he hasn't been signed since. And if the Titans don't sign him, whether I agree with it or not, that has to show some stuff about what the owners are doing behind the scenes.
Yeah,
because the dude can ball.
That's a whole other.
And they need to fill a spot.
That's a whole other podcast in and of itself. But
it
you're right.
really is.
You're right. So we'll see what they do. I mean, they need somebody. You got to get a starter, and they have lofty expectations this year too. I don't know why, but they do. So we'll see what they do. Another big one, corner from the Chargers,
Jason Verrett.
I mean, that's a big time blow
Yeah.
for a team that just seems, for a long time we thought the Jags were snake bitten. The Chargers are the new Jags in terms of just can't catch a break. And
Yeah, I mean,
I still am high on the Chargers. They're scary to me. I don't want to see them in the playoffs, but that's a big blow to lose was he a Pro Bowl corner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that was after they lost Hunter Henry, their tight end, who was one of the best tight ends in the AFC.
Yeah.
To
they were replacing Antonio Gates. I mean,
Yeah.
he was really good. So that's two major contributing starters on their team that are lost for the year.
And with him, I mean, it happened in like the first, like just the physical test they do, and Achilles pop.
Right.
I mean, that's tough, dude.
That hurts.
I don't wish injuries like that on anybody. Like you talk about
No.
Cyprian. I mean, they're a rival, but I don't want to see any elite athlete go down for a year.
No,
I
not
mean,
at all.
that's just not good.
Except for Allen Robinson for you, maybe.
I didn't want to see him go down. I want him to do well for the Bears. I'm glad he's away from Bortles because that was like a bad mojo.
Right.
I had forgotten about the whole. They actually talked about it on the NFL Ringer podcast. I'd forgotten that Allen Robinson was like calling him out in preseason about he couldn't just throw the ball in bounds, like yelling at Blake.
At him, man.
Yeah,
they did not like each other.
Yeah, I'm glad he's gone.
Believe me.
I don't think Robinson ever wanted to be here. I mean, he called out fans.
Yeah.
He just didn't.
I agree.
He's kind of a malcontent while he was here.
I agree. And enjoy the Bears.
Yeah.
On another note, though, everything coming out of the Cowboys camp is Allen Hurns was looking really good.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard
That's
anything
good to
about that.
So he had a really good day today. There's a video of him making a really good catch today. So hey,
Will you
Can
jump
you
back
name a starting corner for Dallas?
the Cowboys.
Yes.
Ooh, Terrence Newman. Does he still play it?
Gosh, he might be in a walker now.
him and Nate Newton are driving.
He was one of those guys that stayed in the NFL forever.
I know.
I don't.
for
I don't.
sure.
I think he was.
I'm gonna look him up. Are you sure he's on the team still?
He may be, but if he is, he's old.
I think he's actually.
And more power to him.
He's
if
on the
he is.
Vikings.
He's on the
Really
Vikings.
still playing?
Yeah, he was drafted in 03. He's
Wow.
39.
Wow,
That's like Ed Reed, man.
that's amazing. Some of those guys, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's
No.
great for Hearns, but
I can't.
still doesn't scare me. But yeah, it's good for him. Good for him.
Well, from an injury standpoint, I did hear like so far in camps, there's been 10 torn ACLs like across the league.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I don't know from a percentage standpoint if that's more or less, but if you think about it, I mean that's a lot of knees shredded.
It is. It's
Especially,
crazy.
I mean, these guys are supposed to be in the best shape of anybody in the world. I mean, it just happens. It's
And
sad.
sometimes that's why they tear their ACLs though.
Yeah.
'Cause it's,
They're
it's
too
almost
good a shape.
force on those knees.
That's Joey. That's why you have your workout regimen to be the opposite, to make sure you don't tear your ACL.
Exactly,
right?
man.
Yeah.
I'm saving myself for the senior tour on something.
If you have no power in your legs, then you can't blow out your
There's
knees.
nothing to be afraid
yeah.
of. I've never heard of anyone tearing their ACL sitting on the couch.
Very, very true. And my plan has worked to perfection. My ACLs are intact.
They are. They're 100%. Oh man, that's awesome. Do we have much more to say? I mean, we've kind of run the gambit. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we do wrap it up, can I give a quick shout out real quick?
Absolutely.
A friend of mine, his name is Chris. He's a avid listener of the podcast. You guys ready to really feel lazy and less about yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay. He about less than
Whoa,
about
wait
2
a
weeks
minute.
ago.
After that last comment, I'm gonna feel more
Yeah,
lazy.
yes, you will.
And less about
Be
myself.
ready.
Okay, continue.
About 2 weeks ago, he completed his 14th. It's called the Hard Rock 100. If you don't know what that is, it's a 100-mile race, foot race, through the mountains of Colorado, like trails, and not streets or anything like that paved, up and down. And it's 48 hours, and he ran 100 miles in 48
So
hours.
it's not even like a run bike. Like it's all running.
It's all
Like an
running.
ultra marathon?
Unlike an ultra, it's an ultra marathon.
Wow.
They call it the Hard 100 because that's the sponsor too. But it's his
Wow.
14th, and he just completed. So congratulations,
Wow.
great job. I mean, that's insane.
I
That's
can't
pretty
even-
amazing.
Yeah,
I can't even can't think of that. Driving that, I would get fatigued.
right.
It was 14th.
14th,
That's crazy.
14th one. Yeah, unbelievable.
Jeez.
So great job, Chris. Congratulations. Thank you for listening. And so we want to add anything else, guys? We want to thank In Paradise again for providing us with the music tonight. We appreciate that. We want to hear from more of the local bands, support everything Jacksonville. Look, this is a Jaguars podcast, but we want to support all that's going on in Jacksonville. So reach out to us on our social media. Again, for the last time today, it is at Twitter, Another Jags Pod, Facebook and Instagram, Another Jags Podcast. And let us know what we can talk about, what we can play, music for you, and we aim to please. I think that wraps it up for episode 22. Guys, any last words before we sign off?
Oh man, I'm just excited. Football's almost here for real, and it's a good time.
Yeah, this is it, man.
First preseason game is next week.
Off season's almost over.
That's right. Hallelujah. All right, well, that wraps it up for us. Thanks again for listening. And as always, go Jags.